Imagine standing face to face with a chimpanzee. It weighs about the same as you. It has 2 arms, 2 legs, 5 fingers on each hand. At first glance, it doesn't seem very different. Then the chimp grabs a tree branch. With almost effortless force, it tears it apart. Now imagine trying to wrestle it. You wouldn't stand a chance. Scientists estimate that a chimpanzee can generate significantly more pulling and climbing power than the average human, despite being much smaller. Against a gorilla, the comparison becomes even more absurd. A silverback can lift, pull, and overpower almost anything in its path. A tiger can drag prey heavier than itself. An eagle can see a rabbit from nearly 2 miles away. A wolf can smell prey long before it comes into view. Almost every animal seems to possess a superpower. Meanwhile, humans struggle to open stubborn pickle jars. Compared to the rest of the animal kingdom, you seem almost embarrassingly weak. No claws. No fangs. No venom. No armor. You can't run as fast as a horse. You can't jump like a kangaroo. You can't climb like a monkey. You can't swim like a dolphin. You can't fly. You can't even survive a single winter night without shelter. So here's the mystery. If humans are so physically unimpressive, why are we the species every other animal fears? Why did the weakest ape on Earth become the ruler of the planet? The answer begins millions of years ago. Long before cities. Long before agriculture. Long before humans even looked like humans. Your ancestors once lived high in the trees. Like modern chimpanzees, they climbed, swung, and pulled themselves from branch to branch every day. Life demanded enormous upper body strength. Strong arms meant survival. Weak arms meant falling. Then everything changed. The climate shifted. Forests slowly disappeared. Open grasslands expanded across Africa. Trees became farther apart. Food became harder to find. Some populations spent more time walking across the ground. At first, it wasn't a dramatic change. Just a little more walking. A little less climbing. Generation after generation, natural selection began favoring bodies built for movement across long distances rather than explosive power. That single shift changed the course of human evolution forever. Your ancestors didn't become weaker overnight. They became different. Instead of investing energy into massive arm muscles, evolution started investing in something else. Longer legs. A narrower waist. More efficient hips. Elastic tendons. Sweat glands. Every one of these changes made walking and running cheaper in terms of energy. Anthropologist Daniel Lieberman has spent decades studying how the human body evolved for endurance rather than brute force. His research shows that humans possess an extraordinary collection of adaptations for covering enormous distances. Long Achilles tendons store and release energy like springs. Large glute muscles stabilize the body while running. A flexible spine improves efficiency. An enlarged vestibular system inside the inner ear helps maintain balance during movement. None of these features help you defeat a tiger in a fight. But together, they allow something almost every predator struggles to do. Keep moving. Hour after hour. Day after day. Imagine an ancient hunter leaving camp at sunrise. There are no roads. No horses. No vehicles. No backpacks filled with food. Only a stone spear and determination. Before sunset, that hunter may have walked more than 20 kilometers. Tomorrow, he would do it again. And again. For hundreds of thousands of years. Strength was useful. But endurance fed families. That's why evolution made one surprising trade. Instead of creating the strongest primate, it created the one that almost never stopped moving. At first, that doesn't sound impressive. Until you realize that endurance changes everything. A leopard can sprint faster than any human. But only for seconds. A horse can outrun you. But in extreme heat, even horses struggle to cool themselves while running continuously. Humans developed millions of sweat glands covering nearly the entire body. Instead of relying mainly on panting like dogs or wolves, your body releases heat through evaporation. Every drop of sweat carries heat away from the skin. That cooling system transformed humans into one of the greatest endurance athletes evolution has ever produced. Your ancestors discovered something no claws or fangs could ever provide. If you simply refuse to stop, eventually, the stronger animal would. That was the beginning of a completely different kind of power. And it wouldn't be the last. Because while evolution was making your muscles slightly smaller, it was quietly building the most powerful survival tool the natural world had ever seen. Not in your arms. Not in your legs. But inside your skull. Millions of years passed. Your ancestors kept walking. Kept hunting. Kept surviving. And with every generation, evolution kept asking the same question. Where should the body's limited energy go? This is one of the most important rules in biology. Energy is never free. Every calorie invested in one organ cannot be invested somewhere else. Build larger muscles. And you need more food. Build thicker bones. And you become heavier. Grow massive jaws. And your skull leaves less room for something else. Evolution is a constant negotiation. Nothing comes without a cost. Humans made one of the most expensive trades in evolutionary history. They gave up raw strength. And invested in intelligence. Look at a chimpanzee. Its muscles are packed with fast-twitch fibers. These muscle fibers generate explosive force. Perfect for climbing trees. Pulling branches. Fighting rivals. Launching the body from limb to limb. Humans still have fast-twitch fibers. But we possess a much larger proportion of slow-twitch fibers. These fibers produce less force. Yet they can keep working for hours without becoming exhausted. Imagine two engines. One is a drag racing engine. Incredibly powerful. But it burns fuel almost instantly. The other is a marathon engine. Not nearly as powerful. But capable of running all day. Chimpanzees inherited the first. Humans evolved toward the second. This wasn't an accident. It was exactly what life on the African savanna demanded. But muscles weren't the only thing changing. The brain was growing. Rapidly. Around 2 million years ago, the brain of an early human ancestor measured roughly 600 cubic centimeters. By the time modern humans appeared, it had more than doubled. Today, the average human brain is roughly 3 times larger than that of a chimpanzee. That's an extraordinary amount of biological investment. According to primatologist Richard Wrangham, larger brains required enormous amounts of energy. Your brain represents only about 2% of your body weight. Yet it consumes roughly 20% of the energy you use while resting. No other organ is nearly as demanding. Imagine carrying a device that constantly drains 1/5 of your battery. That's your brain. Every single day. Evolution couldn't simply add that enormous cost on top of everything else. Something had to give. One theory suggests that humans became leaner and less muscular because maintaining huge muscles alongside an expanding brain would have been energetically expensive. Instead of becoming the strongest ape, humans became the smartest economical ape. And intelligence changed the rules of survival. Imagine facing a lion. A chimpanzee has little choice. Fight. Run. Or climb. Now imagine an early human. Instead of charging forward, he picks up a rock. He sharpens a stick. He calls for help. Suddenly, survival isn't about individual strength anymore. It's about planning. Cooperation. Communication. Your ancestors discovered that 10 average hunters working together were far more effective than one incredibly strong individual. This may be humanity's greatest superpower. Cooperation. Anthropologist Polly Wiessner spent decades studying modern hunter-gatherer societies. Her research revealed something remarkable. Food wasn't simply eaten by the person who caught it. It was shared. Knowledge wasn't kept secret. It was passed to younger generations. Skills accumulated instead of disappearing. Each generation began where the previous one ended. No tiger teaches its cubs how to invent better hunting tools. No wolf gathers around a fire discussing tomorrow's strategy. Humans did. And culture became stronger than instinct. Then another extraordinary ability appeared. Throwing. Almost every primate can throw objects. But humans throw with astonishing speed and precision. Research by Daniel Lieberman and Dennis Bramble showed that the human shoulder evolved into a remarkably efficient throwing machine. Elastic tendons store energy. Rotating hips generate power. Flexible shoulders release that energy with incredible speed. A stone leaving your hand can travel faster than 100 kilometers per hour. That doesn't sound impressive today. But 200,000 years ago, it changed everything. You no longer needed to stand within arm's reach of danger. Distance became a weapon. A spear could wound an animal before it ever reached you. A thrown rock could drive predators away from camp. Brains had created a weapon that muscles alone never could. And once tools entered the picture, natural selection began rewarding intelligence even more. Every improvement in planning led to better hunting. Better hunting produced more food. More food supported larger brains. Larger brains created better tools. It became a powerful evolutionary feedback loop. Year after year. Generation after generation. Humans weren't becoming physically dominant. They were becoming intellectually unstoppable. Richard Wrangham has argued that another revolutionary breakthrough accelerated this process even further. Cooking. Fire transformed food. Cooked meat contains more usable calories than raw meat. Cooked roots become easier to digest. Cooking reduces the amount of energy needed for chewing and digestion. That extra energy could now support something incredibly expensive. The brain. Instead of evolving stronger jaws, humans learned to cook. Instead of growing sharper teeth, they built fires. Instead of becoming stronger, they became smarter. One innovation replaced millions of years of anatomical evolution. That's something almost no other species has ever achieved. Your body stopped solving every problem. Your mind took over. By now, humans looked even weaker than many other animals. Their muscles were smaller. Their teeth were unimpressive. Their claws had disappeared completely. If an alien visited Earth during this time, it might have made a terrible prediction. Looking only at anatomy, humans appeared hopelessly average. Nothing about them suggested future dominance. No giant muscles. No deadly weapons. No natural armor. Just thin bodies carrying unusually large heads. But appearances can be deceptive. Because the greatest weapon evolution ever created wasn't visible from the outside. It was the ability to imagine a future that didn't exist yet. And once humans learned to plan together, no animal, no matter how powerful, would ever compete on equal terms again. Now imagine something almost impossible. A lone human. Standing in the middle of the African savanna. No claws. No sharp teeth. No armor. No incredible speed. Compared to almost every predator around, this human looks hopelessly vulnerable. If survival depended on physical strength alone, your story should have ended right there. But it didn't. Because humans stopped competing on nature's terms. Instead, they changed the rules of the game. A lion is born knowing how to hunt. A spider knows how to spin a web without ever being taught. A beaver instinctively builds dams. Most animals inherit their survival strategy through instinct. Humans inherited something different. The ability to learn almost anything. And perhaps more importantly, the ability to teach. This simple difference transformed evolution itself. Imagine discovering a better way to sharpen a stone spear. A chimpanzee might use the technique for the rest of its life. When it dies, much of that knowledge dies with it. Humans did something extraordinary. They demonstrated it. Explained it. Improved it. Passed it to their children. Who improved it again. Anthropologists call this cumulative culture. Knowledge doesn't restart every generation. It accumulates. Like building blocks stacked higher and higher over thousands of years. No individual human invented civilization. Millions of people contributed tiny improvements. Each generation standing on the shoulders of the last. That is something no amount of muscle could ever replace. Imagine fighting a mammoth. One person with a wooden spear has almost no chance. But 20 hunters. Communicating with language. Planning an ambush. Driving the animal toward a cliff. Suddenly the impossible becomes possible. This is exactly what archaeologists have discovered at numerous prehistoric hunting sites. The evidence doesn't point toward stronger humans. It points toward smarter cooperation. Planning defeated power. Communication defeated instinct. Strategy defeated size. Psychologist Michael Tomasello has argued that one of humanity's greatest evolutionary advantages is shared intentionality. In simple words, humans can create a plan inside one mind. Then place that exact same plan inside someone else's mind through language. Think about how extraordinary that really is. You can imagine tomorrow. Explain tomorrow. Prepare for tomorrow. And convince dozens of strangers to help make tomorrow happen. Almost no other species can do that. A wolf pack works together. But it doesn't sit around discussing next month's hunting strategy. Humans did. Long before writing. Long before governments. Long before cities. Ideas became our most powerful survival tool. And those ideas spread faster than genes ever could. Then came one invention that changed everything forever. Technology. Every spear made the human arm stronger. Every knife made human teeth sharper. Every shelter replaced thick fur. Every bow extended the reach of human muscles. Every invention became a biological upgrade without changing the human body at all. This is why evolution took such an unusual path. Instead of waiting thousands of generations to grow claws, humans simply invented spears. Instead of evolving stronger jaws, they created cooking. Instead of growing thicker skin, they stitched clothing. Instead of becoming faster, they domesticated horses. Biological evolution is slow. Cultural evolution is astonishingly fast. Once humans crossed that threshold, no other species could keep up. Richard Wrangham has often described fire as one of the greatest turning points in human history. Fire didn't simply cook food. It extended the day. Protected camps from predators. Allowed families to gather together after sunset. And perhaps most importantly, it created time. Time for conversation. Time for teaching. Time for stories. Some anthropologists believe that these conversations around ancient campfires help strengthen language, memory, and social bonds. Knowledge could now survive the people who first discovered it. One generation learned. The next generation started even further ahead. This process repeated for hundreds of thousands of years. Eventually, stone tools became bronze. Bronze became iron. Iron became steel. Simple shelters became villages. Villages became civilizations. And somewhere along the way, the physically weakest great ape built telescopes, crossed oceans, mapped the human genome, walked on the moon. Not because human muscles became stronger, but because human ideas never stopped evolving. Ironically, modern humans often misunderstand what strength actually means. When you picture strength, you probably imagine massive muscles, powerful punches, explosive force. Evolution had a much broader definition. Real strength is whatever increases survival. Sometimes that's muscle. Sometimes it's endurance. Sometimes it's cooperation. Sometimes it's intelligence. For humans, it became all four working together. Your ancestors didn't survive because they were stronger than lions. They survived because lions couldn't invent traps. They weren't faster than wolves. But wolves couldn't build spears. They weren't tougher than bears. But bears couldn't pass knowledge across hundreds of generations. Every apparent human weakness became the beginning of an entirely new solution. Weak teeth led to cooking. Weak claws led to tools. Weak muscles led to teamwork. Weak bodies led to stronger minds. What looked like disadvantages slowly became humanity's greatest competitive advantage. So, are humans really weak? Physically? Compared with many animals? Absolutely. A chimpanzee can overpower you. A tiger can outrun you. An eagle sees farther. A shark swims faster. A gorilla lifts far more weight. Those facts haven't changed. But evolution was never trying to win individual contests. It was trying to maximize survival over millions of years. And in that contest, no species has been more successful than humans. The next time you struggle to lift something heavier than you, remember this. Your ancestors weren't designed to overpower nature. They were designed to understand it, to adapt to it, and eventually, to reshape it. That is why the weakest ape became the strongest species. Not because evolution built the most powerful body, but because it built the only creature capable of improving itself faster than evolution ever could. And perhaps that's the greatest irony of all. The moment humans stopped relying on strength was the moment they became unstoppable.